Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the virtual launch for the Miami-Dade Business Navigator program. We'll give it a minute or two for everybody to stream in to get acclimated in the Zoom room. So we just want to welcome you to come in, and we'll get started in a minute or two. And I was going to say again for everybody that just streamed in, welcome to the virtual launch for the Miami-Dade Business Navigator program. We're going to start in a minute. If you could, put in the chat, who are you? We want to know who you are. Put in your business name, your email address, put in your organization. We want to hear from you. We know we have a lot of business owners, but also a lot of partners from the community. So please put in the chat. Don't be shy. Let us know who you are. And I see Jose Alvarez from North Carolina. So Mirna from Prospera. So North Carolina strong in the event. And Tina. Let's see, Cherry. Okay. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and get started. I know folks are gonna be streaming in. I want to welcome you on behalf of the Miami-Dade Business Navigators and our partners and SBA. My name is Brian Van Hook, and I have the really great pleasure to be the Regional Director for the Florida Small Business Development Center at FIU. I also, at SBDC, we're also serving as the hub. You're going to be experts on what is a navigator, what is a hub, what is a spokes by the end of this presentation. What I wanted to do is like they always say in business, if you have a good product or service, don't get in the way of it. So we have really dynamic, great speakers here today. So I don't want to get in the way of the speaker. So what I'm going to do is just have 6 quick slides to kind of get you set the stage on what is Navigator, what's the program. And then I'm going to turn it over to our really great speaker so you can hear from everybody about this program. We are going to save some time at the end for questions and answers. So I would encourage you to put your questions in the chat. And then also we're going to have some information for businesses as well towards the end. So we want to make it fun. We want to make it dynamic. We don't want to make this one of your boring Zoom meetings that you have during the day, because I know folks are having more Zoom meetings than usual. And so with that, I'm going to turn it into a couple slides. But like I said, please post in the chat, who are you, what's your business name, your email address, your website. I know you're going to see a lot of your friends here, so say hi to everybody. And with that, I'm going to share screen. So let's see. Okay, so you guys are going to hear the term community navigator batted around a little bit today. I wanted to do like a navigator 101. So when you think of navigator, if you Google navigator, you're going to Google, it's going to come up Lincoln Navigator. So shout out to Lincoln Navigator. They've cornered the market on navigators. You're also going to see St. Brendan Navigator, a couple of others. For the purpose of what we're talking about, a community navigator is a trusted community-based organization that's focused in this case on helping local businesses locate and access resources, information, and services. It is based on a public health model where you have a hub and a spokes that can go out in the community and provide public health information. You might also be familiar if you've flown, that you have a hub that's like Miami or Dallas, and then you have little spoke airports out in the community to kind of get folks where they need to go. But for navigators, we are your trusted advisors. We are your advocates. We are your ambassadors. We are your connectors. As the picture said, I didn't want to put up, like, even though it's in our logo, like a compass. Nowadays, everybody knows in navigation, you're going to have your smartphone, your Waze, your Google Maps, your GPS. So at the end of the day, to use a more modern reference, we are your GPS. We are your smartphone. We're here to connect you with consulting, with training, with information, with resources. So that's what a navigator is for the purpose of this discussion. We're here to help you. In terms of the SBA Community Navigator Program, this was a program that was established under the American Rescue Plan Act in 2021. It uses that community navigator approach that you guys are experts on now to help small businesses with economic recovery. It is funded under the Small Business Administration. So thank you. You're going to hear from our great sponsors at the Small Business Administration in a minute. But the program is comprised of that hub, which is kind of like a quarterback, kind of like an administrative hub. and then also spoke organizations that work in the community with businesses. Overall, it was $100 million to 51 grantees. We're very proud that we are your local Miami-Dade Business Navigator program. We are the only local Florida Navigator network. There are a couple of spokes under a national program in North Florida. And this program was extremely competitive. There was over 700 applications. Basically, as you saw, 51 grantees. We were tier 2, which is the state and regional. There was only 11 awards made under that tier. So we're one of 11 of 51. So we're very thankful that we could bring this money to Miami-Dade County and really focus on the businesses that we're going to help under the project. The focus of the Community Navigator project is to improve long-term economic recovery and resilience among small businesses. A focus on the program is placed on businesses owned by veterans, women, and socially and economically disadvantaged individuals. Core program activities include technical assistance, training and outreach, and sharing of information and resources. So like we said, in terms of kind of a community navigator. In terms of the Miami-Dade Business Navigator program, what is the Miami-Dade Business Navigator program? Well, I always like to say, I don't want to show you numbers. I don't want to show you facts. I want to show you figures. I want to show you the people that do the hard work. So all of these organizations that you're going to hear from, they're kind of like my closers for this program. They're the ones that are going last because they're going to close strong. Ascendus branches the EDC of South Miami-Dade, the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce, Prospera, Startup FIU Procurement, and Florida SBDC and FIU. We are your Miami-Dade Business Navigators. And as I will say throughout the presentation, we're not the only groups at Miami-Dade that provide technical assistance. We have a very large and dynamic entrepreneurial ecosystem. We recognize that. So as part of this project, we're going to have our navigators, but we really want to partner with other groups in the community as well to help our businesses. So under our particular project, our group secured a 2-year, $2.5 million grant to create a navigator network for Miami-Dade County. There have been smaller, different types of networks that have been created, and additional groups have got funding from national banks, national foundations. But our focus is to create a strong local community navigator network to assist socially, economically disadvantaged businesses with consulting, mentoring, and training. I would say if you're not located in Miami-Dade County, the SBA is here. We're not going to turn you away. So our focus is Miami-Dade County geographically, but if we have businesses in Broward or Palm Beach or the Florida Keys, if we have information, if we have trainings, you can register for that as well. But we do want to be transparent that our program is targeting minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses, and LGBTQ-owned businesses in Miami-Dade County. But if we have information and resources that we can share with you, then we're more than happy to share it as well, especially because we're receiving federal funding to provide the assistance. We can't turn businesses away. But I would say the whole focus of this program is that, you know, what's the saying that they have? The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. That all these organizations are really strong in the community, and we're all hubs in our community. The idea behind this is to get some funding together, create a local network, create some synergies, chip away at some barriers, knock down some barriers, and create this local network where we can really collaborate together. There's a variety of different reasons why organizations in the county have been like having trouble with coordination. So the idea for us is that we can kind of speak the same language, row in the same direction, and the direction we're rowing is to help more businesses in the community. So it's not just capacity for these organizations, it's also trying to work collectively as a group and help more businesses in the community. So we have a tall task, and we really want to set the bar high because we know that we're probably not going to be the first navigator network. We probably won't be the last, but we really want to work hard during the 2 years and really set some good best practices and some really good examples. In terms of, we talked about the consulting side of things. Training and outreach is going to be a core component of this program. So we're going to be focusing on webinars. So we will see you in more Zoom boxes. We will see you at in-person trainings around the community and also outreach events. And these are going to be this year and next year. Trainings are going to be available in English, Spanish, and Creole. Also, one of the things that we're hoping is a legacy part of this project is we are going to institute navigator resource fairs. So what we're going to do is every month, at minimum, we're going to have a resource fair of all these different groups, the SBA, the county, municipalities, chambers of commerce, where we can get together all around the county and basically be a resource fair for small businesses. So they can come in for about a 3-hour window and meet with us in person and talk to everybody at one place about what resources they can get. Obviously, we know that this is going to be pretty popular, so we're just committing to do 20. But if groups come in and ask us to do more around the community, you're not going to twist our arm. We'll do more of these. Also, we are going to create a Navigator resource guide because there's a lot of really good information that's available online for businesses. But we know not all businesses are online and not all businesses are able to access a lot of this information. So we are going to create, also as another legacy piece of this project, a comprehensive small business resource guide that's going to be available electronically on our website and also as hard copies. So if you come out to one of the resource fairs, we can give you this guide that's going to be available in English, Spanish, and Creole. So you can pick it up and take it home and try to find some information to help grow your business. And so with that, I'm going to stop sharing. And I know I gave you guys a lot of information, but the good thing is this is going to be recorded. So we will post this information to our YouTube page and share it. We also will be having information sessions that are going to be a little shorter. I won't be talking. It's going to be Jesus and some other folks talking. But basically, there'll be 30-minute information sessions in English, Spanish, and Creole so that we can kind of get this information out. So with that, I was going to turn it over to Alan and to Althea with the SBA to make some remarks because we're just very happy that they were able to fund this project for Miami-Dade County.
Brian, thank you, and good morning to everyone. And I hope everyone had an awesome Valentine's Day yesterday. We're going to continue with Althea and I, the Love Fest here today. We are so excited to be here with you to celebrate this great day and this amazing achievement by the Florida Small Business Development Center at FIU, located right in South Florida. And it's just such a special program, and we're excited and delighted to be able to bring this to you. I get to talk about this all across the Southeast United States. I'm in North Carolina right now. We're working all over the entire country, working with so many great hub organizations and spoke organizations, and we'll get into more detail here in a moment. But a real quick little background on our program here. The SBA Community Navigator Program is an American Rescue Plan initiative designed to reduce barriers, as Brian said, and provide access to vital resources for small businesses across the nation. And competition to receive a slice of this $100 million in grants was fierce. But to be honest, it doesn't surprise me or Althea that the SBDC at FIU has succeeded in securing a grant to help everyone in Florida entrepreneurs over the next 2 years. That's what they do. They're passionate about creating new ways to help small business. And winning $1 million through the SBA Community Navigators program allows the SBDC at FIU to serve as a hub and their respective spokes to continue what they do best, develop equity-focused partnerships. And equity is a top priority for the Biden-Harris administration, as you guys know. The SBA Administrator, Isabel Guzman, and all of us here at SBA are so excited about this development for you guys. Equity and inclusion run through all the veins of SBA to make us stronger, make us a stronger partner to all entrepreneurs. And as a team, these organizations can now work together better, reaching out to those in underserved communities and building training programs and processes and solutions for entrepreneurs ready to reach out and grab their version of the American dream. And I look forward to working closely with Althea and the SBA South Florida team to witness the great growth and success from this Navigator launch. I'm excited for the places this Navigator approach will lead entrepreneurs and provide tools that you guys need for success. My goal while I'm the SBA administrator with the Biden-Harris administration is to help our small businesses not just continue to grow, but become sustainable so that many future generations are poised to continue this great drive of business. So I'm honored now to introduce our fearless leader in South Florida, SBA Deputy District Director, Althea Harris. Thank you, Althea, for letting me be a part of this wonderful celebration, and I'll turn it over to you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Regional Administrator. We are delighted that you could be with us today to give us that top-down endorsement of what's happening here in South Florida. Yet another exciting happening for small business. Thank you so much for being with us today. Friends, I'm going to tell you, like Liz Taylor told her husbands, I will not keep you long. I just wanted to say how excited we are at the South Florida District Office about this grant to these spectacular organizations who have come together with the SBDC to make opportunities available for you to get liftoff on your business. On behalf of our interim district director, Malcolm Richards, I want to encourage you to reach out to our community navigators and let them help you grow your business and take it to the next level. Listen, with over 32 million small businesses in America, SBA, we know we can't do this by ourselves. This is why we make opportunities to partner with organizations like the SBDC, like Prospera, Ascendus. We are delighted about this partnership. And in Dade County, you know, we have over 200,000 small businesses, according to the Beacon Council. And so, you know we can't do it alone, so we don't even try to do it alone. And I'm telling you that SBA, through this Community Navigator pilot program, has assembled among the best resources here in the county. But like Brian told you, they're not the only ones. We all work collaboratively and cooperatively with each other. We understand we are not here to compete with one another. We're here to complete one another. So I'm glad you're here today, friends. I'm also going to put into the chat a link to an event we're having tomorrow where you have agreed to join us, Regional Administrator Thomas. We're glad. It's a business briefing for the African-American community. We want to share with you what we've been up to and what our priorities are for the new year. And we'll be on hand to answer any of your questions. Please, not about your specific idle loan. We have opportunities and methods to help you with that, which I will also put into the chat. But I hope you'll join us tomorrow at 9:30 to hear all of the exciting things we're doing. With that, I turn it back over to you, Brian. Thanks so much.
Thank you to Althea and Alan. And I just want to reiterate, SBDC is just one part of a very strong ecosystem in Miami-Dade. And for us, we're very focused on being collaborative, not just with the folks within these little Zoom boxes that are navigators, but also additional organizations, because at the end of the day, we can only do it if we work together. And so that's a big focus for the program. So definitely, if there's other groups, you're going to hear at the end, I don't want to steal the thunder, but how we can partner with other groups in our ecosystem. And our next speaker is kind of a local legend. I would say she's also kind of a really big small business advocate. So she's not just running her business on a day-to-day basis, but she is advocating with the president, with the administration, with Congress. And I had some time served in DC, so I know how tough that can be to be up and advocate. But I would say it's not overstating that we might not be here with this grant for Miami-Dade County if it was not for her advocacy with the administration. And so I want to introduce, and also a fun fact, or we're very proud that she's worked with a number of these organizations that are also here. So not only is she somebody that's advocated for this type of program, but she's also worked with a number of the organizations as well. So I was going to turn it over to Pilar Guzman Zavala. She's the CEO, Chief Empanada Officer for Half Moon Empanadas. Everybody knows that company. Everybody knows the empanadas. So I was going to turn it over to Pilar to make some remarks and just really thank her for the opportunity for her to speak, because I know she's super busy. She's running her business. If you're doing something, you're not doing something else. So thanks to Pilar for taking a couple minutes to talk.
Oh my gosh, what an introduction. That's it's a pleasure, it's an honor. I'm excited to see this. I'm excited to see the faces. I know I work with you, Brian, Fabiana, Althea. We have collaborated with EIDL craziness. So I'm very happy to see many of the faces, and I'm thankful. I'm humbled that you have me speaking here. I really want to say congratulations first, because I know that it's been a hustle to get that approved in Congress. I was part of that conversation where I literally said, this is not about politics. This is about the people down there in our cities, in our communities that need this money. And I speak about this because as I was trying to see, okay, what do I want to share with everybody today? And I was looking at, Brian said, just share your story, right? And I was trying to think about it in the financing story of my life, how the whole process of getting money in 14 years of being a CEO explains why I'm so passionate about this, because I really worked through these, years by myself, in a way, learning by myself. And I'm how can we make this more systemic? How can we create systems places like this pilot program, where people can get at least a little bit of guidance, a little bit of training, somebody that can tell them, you know what, by the way, I know you're Mexican, you know, you're from another country, but here in America, credit is important and you have to take care of it. Like basic things like that. And so as I go back to, you know, when we opened our South Beach store in 2008, you know, again, I didn't know credit was important. We had a line of credit because my husband had it. And then with the crisis, that came down, you know, they canceled the credit line. It was crazy. I mean, the pain and how scary it was for us. We didn't have money to pay for the rent because we were not making money in the store. So the line of credit was paying for the rent. So that taught me a lot, you know, by like, okay, credit is important. Now I have to build my credit because, you know, otherwise how am I gonna, you know, finance things later? And then, you know, as I go through the story, I remember making my P&L in Excel, like exporting it from the bank and literally saying, okay, these are expenses, are these, and these, and giving it to TurboTax or one of those companies outside that do your taxes. And so the evolution has been that, you know, later on I was able to get, you know, somebody to do an intern to do my P&L in QuickBooks, and then a CPA, and then somebody in administration. Now I have a controller. It's been a process, right? And so, you know, it's been just by asking, it's been by rejections. You know, when I won the contract in Miami Airport, I needed financing. I needed $250,000. And I tell this story, and this is why I'm passionate, because I went to 10 banks in Miami locally, and they all rejected me because they said, you know, you're not in the square. Like literally, I wasn't in the square. I didn't have a credit history. I had that line of credit canceled years before. You know, a bunch of things that it was just, I was a high risk. I was a restaurant, I remember that. And so it was because of a mentor of mine from Knight Foundation that introduced me to the president of a bank here in Miami. And literally in 30 minutes, he heard my story. I pitched my project. I have a contract. This is the rendering. Please believe in me. And he did. And he approved that financing. And so, you know, how many people can get, how many small businesses of these, you know, 200,000 that you mentioned in Miami-Dade, how many of those can get into the office of a president of a bank? You know, very few. And so, you know, I think we need to systemize, we need to give those opportunities. And what I love about what you said, Brian, is that this is about collaboration, right? Like we need to talk to each other. We need to help each other. We need to connect, because that's the only way we actually are going to be able to help those that need it. And so, you know, when I spoke to President Biden, I had, you know, the privilege of speaking to many of you. You kind of gave me a training of like, these are the statistics, you know. And so then I understood, okay, this is why it was so difficult for me in reality. And I remember one statistic that stuck in my mind. It was something like around 15%, and maybe the SBA folks can correct me, but like 15% of the 7A loans in 2019 went to minority firms, right? And it's great. I mean, yes, we have a percentage of those loans going to, but we gotta do more, right? Like, and so the question is why? And I guess I answer that. It's information, it's teaching, it's collaboration, it's access to the resources. And I think this is a great example for that. So I'm sorry it took so long. I'm very passionate about it. I congratulate you guys, SBA South Florida. Thank you so much. Mr. Thomas, thank you for believing and helping us. And thank you everybody for doing this great effort for all of our small businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, Pilar. And I think if we're going to have a program focused on businesses, we can give the business owner a little bit of extra time to talk. We got to keep the focus where it is. And I just was going to say thank you to you. Pilar is the only client that I will let cancel because she has to talk to the Treasury Secretary. I remember one of the consulting sessions we had, you had to cancel. She said, I'm sorry, I have to talk to the Treasury Secretary. I'm like, I'm gonna let you off the hook this time. So just thank you to you. And actually we read your testimony before Congress when we were pulling together our grant application. So we actually not only based it on the day-to-day that we work at, but also kind of some of your advocacy that you did for Congress. So I like to bring it full circle that now you're here testifying at the launch of this program in Miami-Dade County. So just thank you for everything you do, and thank you for your time, like I said, and please just keep doing what you're doing, because a lot of businesses are inspired by what you're doing. And definitely we want to help more businesses like you to start and grow in Miami-Dade County. So just thank you.
Thank you.
And then now I was going to turn it over to our great navigators. You guys have heard, what is a navigator? What is an SBA navigator? What is a Miami-Dade Business Navigator? But what I'd like to do is turn it over to each of our spokes so that they can talk about their organization and also what they're going to do as part of this really great collaborative under this program. And so I'm going to go in alphabetical order so that we're not putting any preference on anybody. So Fabiana and Ascendis, no pressure. Now you got to follow Pilar. You're up first.
Yeah, no, but it's easy, Brian, you know, because Pilar is so unique, she's authentic, and she's telling really the true story behind each of entrepreneur here in Miami-Dade. And it's good that she was able to put a name with the face with Altia, because Altia was helping as well with the IDL process. So that's the idea of the community navigator, just to work all together and to provide the tools to each individual, to each entrepreneur, that we are here to assist you. Our mission is for you to success. Let me tell you a little bit about my organization. Ascendus is a CDFI, and we have been here for more than since 2003 in Miami, and we are a nationwide organization. What we are doing here is provide the access to capital, and we are going to guide you through the process. If you are not ready, there's no problem. We are going to work with you and with our partners, with Prospera, with branches, with all of you, just to give you the tools to be ready for the loan that you need. And right now we have an amazing program with a low interest rate, 4%, that is called SOAR. And we are trying to put that money in the hands of entrepreneurs, because we know that the IDL is no longer there at a low interest rate. What are you going to do if you need capital? Talk to us, talk to the partners, and we are here to work together. Thank you to Brian for everything that you have been doing for this project. It's a day that we are really very happy today, because this is something amazing. We are working as a team. So Mr. Thomas, when you travel here to Miami, don't forget to pass by Half Moon Empanada at the airport. We see you soon. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Fabiana. And shout out on your branding. You're always on point on your branding. So you got the shirt on, Ascendus. I know your folks are going to be happy that you're branded properly. And next I was going to turn over to Brent from Branches.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Brent McLaughlin, and I serve as the CEO of Branches. And I just want to say I'm inspired. Pilar, I'm inspired by your comments and your journey. And I'm also inspired by all the champions here on this call, including, and not the least of which, is Althea from the SBA, who's been just an advocate and a champion of all of our work for so long. So thank you, Althea, and thank you, Alan, for representing also the SBA. And Brian, thank you for including Branches. We're just excited to be part of this. So briefly, but I do want to give you a little context for those of you who are business owners out there. Branches serves to create life-changing opportunities for children, families, and entrepreneurs. And back in 2002, we began our financial wellness work here in the community by starting our micro business program. So it's really the cornerstone of many aspects of what we do in financial wellness. So the program itself works with three types of entrepreneurs: those who have an idea or a concept and want to get their business going, or those who are in the startup phase, or for businesses that are established and are ongoing, whether you have revenue of $5,000 or all the way up to $1 million. Branches is here to work with you. We provide business coaching, technical assistance, and ongoing support that moves each entrepreneur from financial literacy to asset building, so that the business becomes stable and growing and can become a legacy for you and your family and your community. Our recent impact, and during the pandemic, I want you to know this is how, and so many of the partners, we've all worked this way when we saw that businesses were in survival mode. And suddenly businesses had to figure out how to fill those gaps just to keep the doors open and to pay the rent. The typical profile of the businesses that we serve had an average revenue of $51,000, only 2 employees, and 2/3 of them were women-owned businesses. A large part of our efforts are always to stabilize during this time, thinking about banking, taxes, and very importantly, credit, so that they could focus on access to capital, whether it was qualifying for SBA loans or PPP loans or being awarded micro grants. So combined, during that time frame, we assisted over 600 small businesses to access over $2 million in financial grants and loans from the government. So what does it look like? I want to give a very brief snapshot here in a couple minutes of what it looks like. Besides coming into the program, we orient you not only to branches, but to the expectation of the program. Next, we pair each entrepreneur with a personal financial coach. We believe that is the primary stage to begin to understand credit, budgeting, and all those different aspects to be able to capitalize on future opportunities. Then we focus on key areas of impact, wherever there might be a gap, such as sales and marketing, finance and accounting, or other areas. Next, we create opportunities for micro grants as well as access to capital and help build the capacity of the business. And finally, we believe that it's really important for social capital to be part of the equation. So whether it's networking opportunities, building out opportunities for your product, or being paired with a mentor. And we work with a program called Micro Mentor here in the community. Last year, we paired 76 entrepreneurs with a mentor that continues to work with them as they navigate the challenges into the future. And lastly, here at Branches, we believe in giving back. And so we have many of our successful businesses who come back and actually volunteer and serve in different ways, whether it's sharing their testimony, just like Pilar did this morning, or it's maybe being a mentor yourself. So we're excited. And I want to thank you, Brian, for the opportunity to include Branches in this. And we look forward to serving the entire community together. Thank you.
Thank you, Brent. And we just want to thank you for being part of the group. Like a lot of these organizations, we've collaborated with you guys pre-COVID, during COVID, and now it's still ongoing. So it's just really great to partner on this project. I was going to turn over next to Jerry, the Executive Director of the EDC of South Miami-Dade.
Sorry, I forgot to unmute. Thank you, Brian, and thank you, everyone. As I was listening to everyone's comments, you know, I like everyone else, scratched down a few things to say, but I think what struck me in listening to everyone is we all mentioned relationships, and the Economic Development Council of South Dade we consider ourselves relationship providers. We consider ourselves facilitators in relationships. We're not a chamber, and we don't have events and things like that, but what we do is bring people together that create relationships that are beneficial. And I think that in the 30 years that the EDC has been in existence, it was formed after Hurricane Andrew. I think looking at the landscape now, we're not facing something that's so very different post-pandemic than what the EDC was created for in the first place, which was post-Hurricane Andrew. So I think the timing on this is incredible. I think that we're all super excited about the relationships that we're going to form. I heard Pilar talk about she knew someone who was a friend, and I think that that's true throughout business. You have to have those support systems, those friends, those people that you know. And that's why this is such a fantastic opportunity, because not only do we have our own resources, but we have the resources of all the spokes. So I think that we're going to do a lot of good things. I'm a small business owner myself, so I understand the things that we've encountered, the things that we've gone through, particularly post-pandemic. And I think that together, this spoke and wheels that we have going is going to do great things for Miami-Dade County, and we're very excited about it.
Thank you, Jerry. And shout out to South Dade. And next, I was going to turn it over to Eric Knowles, the president of the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce.
Unmute. And thank you, Brian. You know, it truly is a pleasure to be here. Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce has been around since 1974. Our mission is to create opportunities for economic and social transformation in our community. I mean, our focus has been Black businesses, but also minorities and women. And I have to give a shout out to Althea. You know, we all went through this whole thing with PPP, EIDL. And before I go there, I got to give a shout out to my team, to Beverly and to Matthew, because they're the backbones that have, you know, put this all together. I just sign off and say, yeah, it's okay. And it really is a team effort when, as Jerry was saying, and Pilar was saying, you know, it's about relationships. And even when you're working together, it's about the relationship that you even have in the office, because these things just don't get done. You know, it takes a team effort. But going back to Althea, and she hears me speak about it, we were just on a call, a Zoom a couple of days ago. And, you know, a lot of our businesses, you know, as I always say, don't have the back of their house together. And that's what we are here. And Myrna, she's shaking her head because we talk about it all the time about, you know, businesses are great at what they do. You know, Pilar is one of those that, you know, that took it to the next level. You know, she was great at making empanadas, but I'm sure when she was, like she said, she had to grow in understanding what it meant to go beyond just making empanadas. You know, you can make 10 empanadas and then you got to make 20 and then you got to make 10,000. So how do you scale and how do you do that? So you have to have the right mechanisms in place. And that's what we do as chambers and these organizations. We help these businesses understand that it's not just about being a great cook. If you're going to be a business person, you have to have all the ingredients. And speaking about cooking, you know, to cook a great meal, you have to have the right ingredients. So to be a great business, you have to have the right ingredients also. So it's having a bookkeeper, having an accountant, having a CPA, having a marketing team behind you, having the right entity as a business. We know a lot of businesses were not able to access EIDL or PPP because they didn't have, again, their back of the house together. And the one thing that I did want to mention, there were a lot of businesses that, for whatever reason, did not want to apply. And as Althea would say, I mean, each and every day, you may not need it now, but you don't know what's going to happen. Here we are still dealing with the pandemic in 2022. You know, there were people saying it's going to be, it'll be over in 6 months. It'll be over in a year. And here we are where we are. So the work that we do, being on this Zoom, this is new. We're still forgetting to unmute. But we've learned to pivot. And that's one thing about business and surviving is about pivoting. So what we do is provide technical assistance each and every day. Like I said, Matthew, he's our technical assistance manager, a membership manager. And that's what we're doing each and every day, providing technical assistance, providing a number of, help making sure that businesses are getting certified with the municipalities, with the school board, with Miami-Dade County, assistance with government contracting, networking activities. Businesses need to know how to connect to one another, support one another, providing those tools, helping them work through business plans, providing webinars. We do that basically on a monthly basis, bringing in experts, how to do business with Jackson Hospital, how to do business with Miami-Dade County, access to capital. So that's what we do each and every day. We are really, I would say, the lifeblood of a lot of businesses. And we're advocating. We, as a chamber, we were just up in Tallahassee a week or so ago, advocating for Black businesses, women and minorities. It was a newly formed organization called the Association of Black Chambers throughout the state of Florida. And we met up in Tallahassee, talked to a lot of our elected officials about our challenges. And, a lot of our businesses are still suffering, still hurting. And that's what we're here for, to advocate each and every day. Thank you. And Brian, another shout out, thank you for bringing us all together and making sure that we win. And the other person I didn't mention, and I'm not going to get in trouble, Miss Paris Ward, who makes sure that I stay on point. Thank you.
No, thank you, Eric. And we're only as good as the partners. And like you said, you're only as good as Paris and Matthew and Beverly. And so shout out to them as well. They're really great. I was going to turn over to Mirna next. You did refer to Mirna, so I'm going to let Mirna take it and talk about the great work that Prospera does in the community.
Thank you, Brian. It's hard to follow Eric. I'm gonna do my best here, but since the Economic Recovery Task Force was created at the county, it feels like I've been following Eric. So here's my opportunity to finally get it right. I don't know about you all, but I am inspired. I'm going to obviously share who we are and what we do, but I want to take a minute to really give a shout out to Mr. Thomas. Please take back our thanks to the SBA, because we all collaborate. We couldn't have even the smallest opportunity to respond to the great need in our community if we didn't collaborate. But the fact that this is now an intentional collaboration that you have decided to back, that will teach us how we can better include information back and forth and how we all fit in this continuum of service, which is an integral part of how we're going to get from soup to nuts, is critical. I think this is the beginning of many, many good things to come. I think the fact that we're going to be able to refer clients back and forth, because we each have our expertise and we each know where we can come in and work on something without duplicating services or resources, because there's just not enough to go around. So I couldn't be more excited about this opportunity. Brian and I have had a chance to partner on another project, so now we know it works. And I can only tell you guys that this is going to be perhaps the most transformative of anything that you do in this year for your respective organizations and for your constituents, will be the work that you do to on this grant. So thank you for allowing us to have this incredible ecosystem building opportunity. I couldn't be more excited. I will say that to this point of our ongoing collaboration, and this is a critical scene setter, I think, for the work of the task ahead. You know, Brent was talking about the businesses that he had to help. We are not a CDFI. We're a 501c3. Our only purpose for existing is to help minority businesses start, sustain, or grow. So imagine what the landscape was like in this community when we were called into service to help underwrite loans by our partners at Ascendus, our partners with the Miami-Dade Federal Credit Union. You know, this organization, which is not an organization dedicated to lending, was able to do over $350,000 of PPP assistance to 42 businesses. When you think about the fact that that's about an $8,500 nut per business, that gives you the real picture of, you know, what we can do when we work together. So we ramped up, we trained as underwriters, and we underwrote, and the proof is in the pudding. And I couldn't be more excited about little stories like that that prove that collaboration is key to the success, to any opportunity that we're going to have to move the needle in this community. And to Brian's point, and he's such a good leader for this program because he's one of the most collaborative people I know. He is constantly reminding us that we've got to bring more people in. We've got to roll out the word so that we get more organizations involved. And that, for me, I have been with Prospera now for 11 years, all of them here in Miami. I had the great good fortune of starting this chapter here because Prospera, as some of you know, is a statewide regional organization, because we now have operations in North Carolina. Shout out to Jose Alvarez, the other North Carolinian on the Zoom, my colleague there, and in Georgia. And I have to tell you that the 10 years that I have spent in Prospera, South Florida, have made me incredibly proud of the partners, but also very aware of the need. And it's, you know, the more of us that work on this, the better, because we're just scratching the surface. And my organization specializes on bilingual English and Spanish services. So we have that opportunity to not only serve in language, but also in culture, which, to the point that many of you have made here, it was tough to get people to come in for PPP. If you come from a vantage point of distrust of institutions, or if you have issues with your credit or any of the established benchmarks that you're used to being told must be in perfect working order, it was difficult for you to decide to come in to get help. And to find those that did, to find that the help was available and that all of these resources exist, I think was transformative for a lot of our businesses. Of those 42 that I mentioned, 38 are still operating. So that for me is the best success story. It's not a lot of money, it's not a big, but it's really what I think is required at this time in this continuing pandemic, because I can't even feel like I can say post-pandemic environment. So we continue to soldier on, inspired by the Pilar Guzmans of this ecosystem. We continue to decide to do something about it rather than sit back. Here at Prospera, we are the back office folks. We meet the business where it's at, whether you're in the pre-venture idea phase, you're a startup, you are already in operations, and we catch you there and try to determine what your pain points are and which one we're going to tackle at a time, because this is not a sprint, it's a marathon. So sometimes we understand that you need capital, but we also understand that we got to get your credit in shape. So we begin to build that by getting you smaller loans with micro lenders that we partner with, and then we get you on that path. We understand that to be able to even get a micro loan, you have to have some of your back office numbers in place. So we do all of that. So not really super sexy or glamorous work, but we believe that is the work that is required for us to be able to get these businesses where they're going. And in the city of Miami proper, and this is your statistic, Althea, so you know this better than I, 68% of all businesses have 4 or less employees. So if we don't move the needle for these businesses, I don't think we're going anywhere. So I couldn't be more excited about this opportunity. I think that the future is certainly more bright now. And I want to say once again, thank you to Captain Van Hook and the team of navigators around the screen. And I look forward to collaborating with all of you in a more formal and in a more productive fashion. And thanks again to the SBA for allowing us to have this opportunity.
Hey, Brian,
Yes,
if I
yes,
may,
sir.
one thing, I also, you know, we have a lot of people on that are listening and making comments in the chat. So I definitely want to thank all of our members and those folks that we serve for being here with us today. And folks, you know, sometimes we get a little frustrated because, you know, the road seems a little longer than what it should be, but just hang in there and, you know, reach out to all of us, and we're here to help. That's, I want to say that to the folks who are on with us.
Yeah, that's a good point. And like I said at the beginning, we're here to be your GPS, your smartphone, so we can find, we know Miami traffic, especially like this morning, everybody's back at work after the Super Bowl and Valentine's. We can help you to get around some wrecks and get around some construction and things like that. So that's our job as navigators, just to help you out. But good point, Eric, in terms of the chat. And then I was going to mention our last partner organization is a fellow FIU program, somebody who I work with a lot within FIU, Barbara Cotto with Startup FIU Procurement. And so I was going to turn over to Barbara to talk about her great program and her great team and the work that she does.
Good morning, Brian, and good morning, everyone. Thanks for the great introduction. I think that it's fair to say that a lot of the work and the recognition for the program comes from great partnerships like the one that we've had the last 3 years with the SBDC at FIU. Certainly, Brian, from point one, was a great supporter, and I feel very proud to belong to this navigators group, especially now with the opportunity to collaborate closely with Mirna, which we've been trying to get there for a very long time, along Eric and everyone else. And thanks to the SBA for the opportunity, also Pilar for advocating, and everyone that is connected, that somehow we've been able to impact one way or the other your business. You trusted us, and now you're trusting us in this new endeavor. A little about us, because everyone else has amazingly shared what they do. We were born back in 2018. And it was an initiative based on a procurement need for our small and minority-owned businesses. We were aiming, and we continue to aim, to unlock wealth opportunities for small and minority-owned businesses in the South Florida area. Right now, we have provided assistance to close to 1,000 businesses in the community. And our focus is to continue to unlock opportunities, not only focus on the procurement, but in other areas that you might not have explored in the past. And what would that mean? That means that we help you, like other partners were sharing. We hold your hand. We want to understand, what have you been doing? What is your business about? What tools do you need? What access to capital do you need? And we help you, providing you with the technical assistance, with the one-on-one consulting with our partners at the SBDC, in addition to focusing on industry-specific needs, mentoring, and helping you build capacity, helping you pivot your business, and making sure that you are in the right place to go after those procurement contracts, or B, go after that segment of business that is appropriate for you and that will help you scale your business, that will help you, as many of us were sharing, to create more jobs for those in the community, but also for you to continue in business. Some highlights that I would like to share is that we do incubate businesses, and therefore throughout the last 2 years we have incubated close to 46 businesses. And this is very important and very special to share, because throughout all this pandemic chaos, they all stayed in business and they were able to retain 60 jobs in this community. But thanks also to the help and the partnership with the SBDC, they were able to secure EIDL loans and PPP loans for close to $1.1 million, which, I mean, that's a record. That is for us to showcase the value of network, for us to showcase the value of partnerships. And certainly all of us coming together, we are bringing more power to these small and minority-owned businesses. But the network is important. And the more we work together, the more people are able to benefit of the things that we do, and therefore have access to these tools. So please join us, reach out to us, and make sure that if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, connect to our website for the navigators or individually to each one of us, and we look forward to assist you. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, Barbara, and thank you to all the great spokes partners. As you guys see why I'm excited about this project. And I was also going to mention that SBDC, we're not a believer to ask people to do something we're not going to do ourselves. So we're not just an administrative hub, kind of helping these folks and giving them a platform, but we're also providing consulting and training. And SBDC has been around since 2014. In a normal year, we work with about 1,100 businesses. Obviously, we know the last 2 years have not been normal. So we work with 2,200 businesses in 2020. Pilar was one of them, thankfully, very happy to work with her. And then also we work with only 1,900 businesses last year. And we've helped those businesses to access almost $200 million in capital. And if that wasn't enough, we launched 165 businesses during the pandemic. So as Althea said, everybody, like a lot of people are starting businesses now. So we're happy to be part of the project, and we're focusing on government contracting, access to capital, financial management, business development, and business operations under the Navigator project. And then we also have additional 23 consultants that are under SBDC proper, SBDC normal, that can also assist in addition to the other organizations we're going to partner with in the community. So I know that we've all been mentioning the Navigator website. So I was going to have Jesus to share the Navigator website in the chat. And then also I was going to share a call to action before we get to like a final question or two with the business owners. And let me see. So if you are a business owner, and I know we have a lot of business owners that are on here, we would ask you guys, go to our website, miamibusinessnavigator.com. You can sign up there for consulting. You can register for trainings. You can stay up to date on new resources. The website is available in English, Spanish, and Creole. We're finishing the translation services, but it will be available in all those languages. We're going to post our events there. I would encourage you guys to follow us on social media, all the handles. We also will be posting this and all of our other trainings that we do online on YouTube, so you can see it in your like on your own time. And then lastly, as I mentioned, we're going to be in the community. You guys are going to be sick of us by the time we're done with this project. You're going to see us all around the county. It's a big county. So come out to the community. Come meet us at some resource fairs. Come meet us at the trainings we're going to do around the community. So we would encourage you, because we're here to be your resource. And like we said, we're not territorial. If the spokes or the hub or our organizations can help you, we're going to help you. But if there's other organizations in the community, we will refer you out for additional services. And also on that note, if you are a partner, if you are not part of the Navigator program currently, go to our website as well, miamibusinessnavigator.com. You can submit a become a partner form. We will review that based on whether you're looking for consulting partnerships, training, or all of the above. We will get in touch with you on how we can partner up. I think a lot of folks would love to table at these resource fairs or do trainings in their community. So we would encourage you as well to go on our Facebook, Twitter, IG, YouTube as well. And then, like I said, we want to see you in the community. So don't be shy, come out and visit us. We're going to be at a local library, local community center. So come out and see us. We'd love to see you in person. And then I was just going to share again, we're on all the handles, all the social media. We have a website, we have a phone number, we have an email address, which is navigators@fiu.edu. Also on Twitter, Facebook, and IG. And then we will have a YouTube page for the videos that we can share it. And those will be available, like I said, in English, Spanish, and Creole. So with that, we gave you a lot of information, guys. I want to thank Pilar. Let's start with the business owner first. I want to thank the SBA, Alan and Althea. I want to thank our spokes. And then I was going to ask Jesus if we have any questions in the chat, because I know we gave you a lot of information. Any questions that we didn't cover?
No, we're good.
Okay. Any closing remarks from any of the spokes? I know some folks have a hard 11 o'clock deadline, but anybody want to close out? Any shout outs? I know everybody shouted out Althea. So any other shout outs for Althea?
Well, thank you for calling my name, because I just wanted to give you all one more shout out. It was a love fest in here before this call started. I'm just delighted to hear from myself. Again, what a wonderful, wonderful batch of organizations we have here in the county. I'm delighted to be a partner with you. I know I speak for Mr. Thomas as well, and our district director, Malcolm Richards. We are delighted that you're here. And Pilar, how can we thank you? Advocacy, it is so needed and necessary. And we thank you for that advocacy you did for us. And now we're the beneficiaries. And so friends, just engage. I saw some of the small businesses in the chat, engage with the navigators. Don't just be a consumer of information, be a doer of information, right? So thanks. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here today. Y'all join us tomorrow. Hear about our good news too.
Pilar, I know you got shouted out. Did you want to say something?
I just want to say it's so exciting. I'm excited. This is going to be good for Miami. So thank you, everybody.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, and thanks to everybody and everybody that was registered and attended. We will be sending you some follow-up information, so don't be shy. You can follow up with Jesus on our team. And then just thanks to everybody for taking time this morning. We look forward to seeing you in the community, and we want to be a really good resource. So we want to set the bar high. We want this to be like a really top-notch program, because you know what, guys, Miami-Dade businesses deserve it. They deserve a program like this. So we're very excited, and we're going to keep the Love Fest going after in the community. So just thank you to you guys for your time, and we look forward to working with everybody as part of this project. And feel free to circle back, whether you're a local official, whether you're a partner, whether you're a business owner, because we're going to partner with everybody. So just thank you for your time, guys. Everybody have a good rest of your week.
Thank you, guys.